World 87.
My time.
Key.
That was in my
The Smiths
Apex.
broke
It's
up.
up and downhill.
What?
You know, the Smiths may be dead, but all the albums are still here.
I wish there was a way to get all the posers in this town to take notice.
We did have an idea. Something that would go down in musical history.
Impress me.
What do you want?
Takes a sour
There's
turn.
a young man in the radio station pointing a gun. So, for the rest of the
Maybe it
night,
is good.
I will be bringing you the music of the Smiths.
Don't touch that dial.
Was that ever on green vinyl?
Did they have green vinyl back then?
This night, we'll open our eyes.
Picture discs.
I'm just out to have a good time.
Yeah,
All the rest is propaganda.
So what do I do?
I dedicate a song to her.
To the charming man holding the radio station hostage. Thank you from all of us, right, guys?
So you stuck up the radio station just to play Smiths on it?
The Smiths are the only band that matters.
Clearly never listened to Twisted Fucking Sister.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Started off interesting because I really like the Smiths, and that era is really interesting. But there's a couple of things when having lived through those days as a person approximately that age, I guess, there's a few little anachronisms in there that you spot, and you're like, it wasn't quite like that. But nobody's ever going to get it right,
Well, if you're thinking of, there's a few things I saw, but I think if you're going to make a movie set in 1987, you got to get that stuth right, because there are people that are alive in the, if it's 1887, you can fudge it,
I guess I think it's sort of more of a romanticized version of 87. Not almost like a movie about an 80s movies, like the songs
like a John
kind of
Hughes
overwrought.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I would love to have seen Molly Ringwald in this. Like,
Yeah.
when I see her, I'm just missing Molly Ringwald.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I feel like the lead guy almost isn't dorky enough. I mean, his outfit's pretty dorky, but he just doesn't look like he should be.
He doesn't look like a dork.
He needs to be Anthony Michael Hall. Was it Anthony Michael Hall?
Or John Cryer, was it?
Yeah, John Cryer.
Sure.
It needed to be John Cryer. You need to have that kind of like a little bit of a damaged sort of, has low self-esteem.
John Hughes used to put cool music, and they like this. Remember Simple Minds?
Yeah.
Don't you forget about me? It was such a big thing in that one, and Pretty in Pink, obviously. And so this movie is named after an 80s song, like Pretty in Pink was named after the Psychedelic Furs song. But this one seems to actually be about the Smiths and about, the life-changing things about music and how people were really into music back then. It's interesting because I don't know are there kids anymore like that who are into music in the same way? Like a band, like certain bands and stuff that are really deeply important to them as people.
I don't even want to speak for young people about what they like, but I know that the 80s are still pretty cool for people. There's a huge audience for the Smiths and Morrissey still.
Sure. And the Smiths are, one of the coolest bands, whether you like their music or not. They had that vibe, Johnny Marr. I mean, they were just good musicians and they produced good stuff.
I like that they have like the sort of overwrought gesture that would be in an 80s movie where you would take over a radio station and play music all night long. But I feel like bringing a gun into it kind of, in a weird way, kind of takes the fun out of it.
Kind of taints it.
Yeah, it does. And John Hughes, I mean, he wrote dialogue that felt real. Like that's the way kids in the 80s. It was like, I get he kind of knew people that age.
Yeah.
That's tough to pull off. And maybe this filmmaker does, we don't know the dialogue.
I don't know. These people look like they were 35 to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that they're erring on the fact that DJ doesn't seem concerned about the guy in there with the gun, but that sort of in a way kind of gave it a little bit of a weird like.
Maybe it's not a real gun, and the guy kind of admits it's not a real gun. It's a squirt gun. I'm sorry. I just need you to help me do something. There's this girl I like, and
yeah, maybe that comes into it because that would be cuter. Yeah,
and it could have been a better end joke instead of the twisted sister thing. That seems like to me kind of low hanging fruit, but I mean, I love anything 80s.
Yeah.
So and anything with any music related stuff, I'm always sort of intrigued in.
Yeah,
and the wardrobe looks kind of interesting. We'll see. At least it's not over the top 80s. It seems a little lived in 80s, which I liked.
It's that other part of the 80s that was a little bit more real than the giant hair and the shoulder pads and the splashy colors and stuff that you see.
Not everyone dressed like Madonna.
Right. And that
or
kind
hair
of
bands,
A lot of people think it was all like, Cyndi Lauper and stuff, but it's not. I mean, the bands that I was into and my friends were into were bands that would still look okay today. There's still people like the Cure was cool and Susie and the Banshees and things like that.
Right.
But then there were so many other bands like, Prefab Sprout or something.
I love Prefab Sprout.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at least they pick, they're not picking the cheesy 80s. They're picking the Smiths, who are still sort of relevant.
Yeah,
so,
the Smiths.
I think it's a little more serious of a film than maybe a John Hughes movie would be, but we'll see.
It feels interesting. I don't know why it felt like almost like something like a British produced film, like those 80s sort of like, had that vibe to it. I know it's not.
This director apparently does a lot of documentaries about 80s music, so I guess his heart's there.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll definitely check it out.
And you better check us out and subscribe. Was that a segue or what?
That was you're like Johnny Carson.
If you like the Smiths, comment and subscribe.
Start a discussion about what are your memories of the 80s.
That would be really cool.
Do you have memories of the 80s?
Did you see the Smiths in concert? Did you get lucky?
Did you see the Smiths in concert, or did they cancel like every time I got tickets to go see the Smiths? They cancel. I think it was 3 different times I bought tickets to see the Smiths, and I never saw the Smiths.
Exactly. You just intended to see the Smiths.
Yeah.
he had a frog in his throat. Sorry. Shows off.
Well, the one good thing about this trailer is I feel like I know exactly what it's about. I know who the hero is. I know who the hero's interest is. I know how it's going to end. I feel like I've seen the whole movie. Done. That was a very clear-cut trailer. Very, very easy to understand.
And 20 songs by the Smiths.
Exactly. So. And you better like the Smiths if you're going to see this movie. All right.
Okay. Shoplifters of the world. Don't forget
to unite. Take over.
Yeah. Okay. You shoplifters, don't forget to subscribe. See you later.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
The Earth is invaded by indestructible moon monsters.